Keegan Murray this year is a lockdown defender.
Mhm.
And I did not expect that at all last season. It's like he read like one or two posts or articles or whatever about how the Kings lost in the playoffs last year because of the defense. He was like, you know what? I'll do it myself. I'll figure it out.
He's been like, you know, a lot of things get made on sophomore slumps.
Mhm.
So far off the spectrum for him.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about his points per game. I'm talking about like the actual improvement of his game as a basketball player. Like you
Mhm.
stated, his defense has been 2, 3, 4 notches above where it was last year.
Mhm.
He saw what it was needed to win. Super important for a player as young as him, or, you know, young into the league. You know, he's 23. That doesn't really matter. Just in terms of NBA experience, to get that playoff experience against somebody like the Golden State Warriors that they did last year. A lot of learning curves for him. Got challenged, came back, and to be very honest, Kenny, I could have told you from day one in the summer league he was about to be different.
Oh yeah.
Day one in the summer league, for those of you who don't know, he dropped like 40 points, the most effortless 40 points. He was unfazed by everybody. He was getting, you know, thrown up against, just looked like a man amongst boys, and, you know, ready for that second year leap. And he's carried that into the season on both ends of the court. And it's not even to state like, you know, obviously we know what he could do as a shooter. We know how hot he can get as a shooter. It's adding the different layers to the game. Now being more of a 3-level scorer than just a catch and shoot shooter, putting the ball on the floor. Obviously not the best playmaker and stuff like that, but that's not really his role. He's more of a catch and finish, play finisher than he is, you know, a shot creator or, you know, a playmaker as opposed to that. But he's been no sophomore slump for Keegan at all, for sure.
Yeah. And it's like we talked off air, and I don't want to keep saying talked off air and not give the full context. We were talking about point guards, well, really scorers in general. And I used the example off air of Gilbert Arenas mentioned, I forgot which podcast or interview it was, where he was talking about his style of play when he played and why he scored so much. And the example he used is like, while you're doing all these dribble moves and in and outs and behind the backs and all this, he could have scored twice in that time because he just got to his spot and just got the bucket. And that's been Keegan Murray. It's no, and I don't want to sound like somebody's coach and be like, there's no flash to his game. But as I get older and as I learn more about the game, which I try to do every day, learn something, I start to really understand what my coaches back then were talking about. Like, that is the best way for you to, like, there's ways to be efficient with the scoring. I don't necessarily mean as far as the percentages, because sometimes shots either fall or they don't, but just kind of getting to the point in a sense. And you mentioned Keegan Murray as a play finisher. I couldn't have said it a better way. That's usually used for like lob catchers and whatever it is, and rim runners, but that's not really all it is with play finishers. So that's why I'm glad you use that in the sense of Keegan Murray, because if he's open, he'll shoot it. He'll just, if not, he'll attack the closeout. If he only needs one dribble to do it, he'll take that and pull up. He has so many ways to score in so little time. It's exactly what that team needs.
Yeah, and it's so much of, you know, we stated like Sabonis playmaking. We stated what De'Aaron Fox does in terms of getting to the rim. His ability to just capitalize off of tilted defenses once they become tilted with Fox's speed or with Sabonis' savvy is, you know, truly special, man. And his ability to remain efficient while basically, you know, having more responsibility, having to shoot more. Sometimes he does get to create a little bit with less time on the shot clock. He is a bailout guy every now and then. But just his ability to remain efficient while doing it within an offense as a second-year player for a team who's 27-19, like, these things are not common in today's, you know, in today's league, and just in general, not in just today's league, in general. Like, a second-year player should not be this poised, just know his role. Like this, like he gets it. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. And I'm not just talking about gets it from the standpoint of stats and like what he does. Like he gets it in the standpoint of winning. Like he's like, what does it take to win? Like that's what I want to do. And Keegan's been special. He absolutely torched the fucking Heat today. He had 33, had a previous game where he hit like 11 threes as well. Like just still has that to his game, but it's not just that he can get to, it's everything else that he's been able to throw in and just get better. So this whole theory of drafting older players because they can't develop, man.
Yeah, and there's to be a little transparent with the audience. There are so many times where I'll be about to say something, and Lou will have no idea, and he'll just transition perfectly into it. But we talked about that witty mind. Like good teams should start looking at these older players because they've come up and they've already played in systems. Sometimes they've played in the same system your team played in already. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know what system Keegan Murray was in college, but just the overall understanding of it's different from, and I don't have an issue with young players either, but it's different when you've been in a system for a while to where you fully have the concept of I don't necessarily have to be the guy every single night. I can attack the closeouts because somebody else drew the help, and now I can just get my points this way. And I'll still get my points, and we'll still win because I'm still making things tough on the defense. I'm just not the first person in this possession to do it. And so, man, credit to Keegan Murray. I understand, like, even with him being a great example for what we talk about as far as older players coming into the league, still having that mindset is just incredible, man.